In 1987, Paul Verhoeven painted a pretty grim future for Detroit. In 2022, almost 40 years later, I can't really say he was too far off the mark either. Robocop is a lot of fun, a gore-soaked masterpiece of action and social commentary. Most people write off this film without seeing it because of its silly title that hides a movie that still holds up to this day. The script is a pretty amazing blend of action and comedy, with some really biting social satire about greedy corporations and the media who advertises it.
I'd buy that for $1.
The Detroit of this dystopian future is, well, it's pretty much just Detroit. A bleak, foreboding industrial center on the verge of collapse and overrun with crime. The police department is in chaos as officers are slain out of hat, with the film's chief Boddicker claiming like 37 of them himself. To this den of madness is introduced Alex Murphy, the audience's eyes and ears of the film. Luckily, he is in our arms and legs, because poor Murphy is only on the job for a mere few minutes, barely having time to get to know his partner Annie Lewis, when he's violently executed by Boddicker and his cohorts. And man, is it gory.
'Tis but a scratch.
A scratch? Your arm's off.
No, it isn't.
The main character biting it in the first 15 minutes, and in so brutal a fashion, just shows this film is not messing around, as Alex is viciously mutilated through multiple gunshots before finally being put out of his misery. And with what glee, the evil Boddicker murders him too. It's pretty obvious in every scene he's in that Kurtwood Smith is simply loving every minute of this role.
Hiya, Barbara. Listen, I'm here to see Dick Jones. But when I'm done, I've got some free time. Maybe you could, fit me in.
It's infectious how much fun not only he, but his henchmen are having. And Leland Palmer's Ray Wise, Paul McCrane, and Jesse D. Goins are all chewing the scenery in this film as Leon Nash, Emil Antonowski, and Joe Cox. It's hard to think of a cast of villains in a film that all stand out this much individually. While they're all definitely despicable criminals, you can't help but kind of like them, with how over the top each of the actors play their roles here.
What do you got there, Clarence, huh? Whoa, a new toy! Can I play?
Huh? Watch this.
Wait a minute, Clarence!
And that might just be one of the points of the movie. As I mentioned, one thing this film does incredibly well is social commentary, and at the core of Robocop is how obsessed our culture is with violence and looking for new ways to celebrate it. In the same way that we enjoy watching these crazed criminals in this movie, the board of OCP are super excited to bring about a more efficient way of dealing with criminals, righteously so here, with either Robocop himself or the competing idea of Ed 209. And hey, who doesn't like a good round of nuke 'em?
Pakistan is threatening my border.
That's it, Buster. No more military aid.
Nuke 'em. Get them before they get you.
After Murphy's unfortunate accident, we're introduced to Omni Consumer Products Governing Board, headed by the amazingly named Old Man. Beneath him are Ronnie Cox's VP, Dick Jones, and youngish upstart, Bob Morton, played by Miguel Ferrer, who are in a bitter war of their own.
You just fucked with the wrong guy. Out of your fucking mind.
Far from just showing how violence is out of hand in the streets, Verhoeven's Robocop also takes aim at the violence inherent in corporate America. And it's no less bloodthirsty here, when Morton gets the upper hand on the aging Jones after his version of a robotic law enforcer, Ed 209, malfunctions, leading to a rather vicious firing of one of their board members. Now getting his own Robocop plan approved, Morton just needs a candidate to fill that armored suit. Any cop will do, just as long as he's dead. And he doesn't have to wait long either, as Peter Weller's Alex Murphy is brought in fresh on the slab. And thus, one of 80's most iconic heroes is born.
Serve the public trust, protect the innocent, uphold the law.
The Robocop design is pretty awesome, and the effects by Ray Botten of John Carpenter's The Thing are just as good as usual. Although Ed 209 stop-motion animation by Phil Tippett looks particularly dated at this point, it doesn't detract much from an otherwise great movie. Is Robocop great, however? If you like action sci-fi movies, it definitely is. Robocop is basically the inverse of Blade Runner, where the cop is a cyborg and all the villains are now human. Only instead of being a slow and steady crime noir, it's an over-the-top action spectacle. And there's definitely room for both, as the newly christened Robocop discovers who is responsible for his murder, and with help from his tough-as-nails partner, Lewis, played by Nancy Allen, goes on a non-stop merciless quest for revenge.
It's good. It's very good.
Justice. And man, are we treated to some gory deaths as Boddicker and his crew are taken down one by one, with a truly spectacular death for Antonowski.
Don't touch me, man!
By the end, all things lead right back to the OCP, where Robocop confronts the film's true villain, Dick Jones, who has been plotting against our hero from the beginning, even having his rival and Robocop's creator murdered along the way. What follows is one pretty amazing showdown in the OCP boardroom, along with one of cinema's best ever executed special effects. So now I know what you're asking yourself. Does this film hold up? Or should I just watch the 2014 remake? Well, the remake does have Gary Oldman in it, but what are you, crazy? I definitely wouldn't buy that for $1. No, like so many 80s movies, Robocop is still an amazing action-packed movie from start to finish, with great performances by everyone that couldn't and shouldn't be replicated. So if you haven't watched it, don't let the somewhat silly premise keep you away. It's definitely worth the watch, and any true fan of the genre will tell you it holds up for repeated viewings.